Each of you to do is give us some feedback on the presentation you just saw today, and and give us some recommendations if you want to, so that the presenters have a takeaway, one or two that they should be, and you can be specific if you want to, or be general. So Rob, why don't you start?
So there's actually 3 or 4 companies I'd like to meet with after we're done. I thought there was a number of very interesting companies. I think the presentations, generally speaking, get a lot of, 3 minutes is very tough, first of all. So
Yeah,
I'm used to sitting into 45 to an hour initial pitches, so it's very hard to work through those in a short period of time. For me, the kind of companies that I was looking for are disruptive technologies, things that can scale very quickly with, once you get over initial hump, that don't have a lot of capital requirements. I think a lot of the companies met that. I think you did a good job explaining it. The hard part for me, I think, and maybe the challenge is to define it going forward, is what are the barriers to entry in each of the businesses you're in? Because the right chart is great. Along that way there'll be hurdles, and there may be people that come down into the market. I was just having a hard time with some of them, understanding what was the competitive advantage.
Yeah, it was limited time.
And
but yeah, we all,
this is very hard to do that.
Right, we all expect hockey sticks anyhow. So, Steve, go ahead.
No, I was going to say kind of the same thing. Like I usually sit down and there's a ton of back and forth, and there was several that I would like to do that with, and I don't know where that is, but just in general, what I like to see is here are our milestones, and here's where this money is going to get people to, and here's our roadmap of how we like, how we're going to get there. Here's what we've met, here's where we're going, and here's where your money is going to get us, how your money is going to get us there. So I think that's an important thing to hit on when you're talking. But again, this forum is not quite the back and forth that an ordinary investor presentation would be.
Right, because we're limited. We're trying to box it all in a little bit of time. So Bob?
I'm particularly interested in products that, in a way, stand on their own. I agree with everyone else when they say 3 minutes. I think the presentations were very good. I've done hundreds of them, and I think that it's a challenge to get exactly what the product description is out, and then what the value proposition is, what the competition is, and what the P&L model is going to be, and what the reward to the investors is. You can do that in 3 minutes. It's pretty extraordinary. But it's really important for investors to understand or to look at something. At least I'm more of an operator and an investor. The gentlemen to my left and right are investors, and sometimes they get sucked into the operators. But the worst case scenario for me is making an investment and the CEO or some other critical individual in the organization fails for whatever reason. It would have been horrible for Russ if Charles left and went to the Caribbean 25 years ago. It would have been a completely different situation for his career. And I personally have, in the last 20 years, had probably 5 of those situations if I made 15 or 20 investments, where literally that principal, that other principal, that passionate founder, to make it short, disappears for some reason. Either fails, divorces, dies, leaves, starts another career, whatever. And I'm left as one of the principal private equity investors to manage that disaster. So I look for a product that can sustain itself with another individual of equal talent so that can continue to drive the business. I don't want a business that's dependent upon a personality, because that's death in the short term and in the long term. So you really look for a business that has what I call, again, product price and sales strategy, integrity through the life, beyond the life of the individual, and that's really important from the standpoint of entrepreneurship and running a business. I saw that today. I saw some of that, and I didn't see some of that.
I saw some of that. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, when you're investing your own money, you have to just be prepared for writing off. And one of those write-off situations are Rob doesn't show up the next day. For whatever reason, car crash, whatever it could be, horrible things happen. always conscious of the backup.
All right, so everybody be
Having 5
ready.
kids, I think the backup plan is all.
They're grown now, but after that phase.
All right, Chuck.
My backup plan was my wife.
Well, first of all, I really enjoyed the presentations today, and Corey, it wasn't necessary to say that this one was the audition for Jack Tank. Anyway, it was really great. I agree, a lot of also what Bob said. Things are going to happen, you are going to fail. One of my favorite expressions came from Eisenhower, who said, plans are worthless, but planning is indispensable. And that's how we look at things. So I think that some of the companies, when you're young like this, as companies, are virtual companies in a sense. And can they withstand the transition that's going to happen to the institutional side? I think that's something you can show very early on, because then you're speaking to your A round. And you have to start planning that during your seed round, because you'll get caught short. You can't just sell a great idea. You can today if you have $40 billion and the 69% increase in capital that came this year into the venture market says too much money has no place to go. So valuations are up and up and up. We all know a lot of money is going to be lost in this process. But in the meantime, that's because the lemmings are out there saying, let's invest at some stage of an app that is a social something. And 2 years ago, it was SaaS. And a few years before that, it was bioengineering and biotech. So if it's in, you might get your funding. But if you want to survive those cycles, then you have to be really thinking about how is it that I can plan to be a real company, not a virtual company, not someone who always don't take salary. That's great. It is great for you have skin in the game. But ultimately, you've got to take salary. You got to hire mature people to help build the company. And at A round and B round, we're going to want to know that you can do that and you know how to do it. So tracking metrics from day one, I think, is critical. And in one of our companies, we screamed about that. I operated at COO and CEO levels as well for 8 years. And even with small startups, near startups, and so on, we try to put that same discipline in to the company almost on day one, and it's resistant because it's all about the big idea, what you're doing, and that's important. But don't lose the blocking and tackling, even at an early stage, because that will help you with finance. It will help show you buttoned up when it comes to asking for $2, $3, $4 million. That starts to become real money, because some of that runs out and it becomes $5 million real fast, and you lose hold of your company all because you didn't think of it as an operating financial company and entity along the way. Doesn't mean you can't get 10 times revenues in terms of valuation. Doesn't mean you can't get 40 times revenue. But Facebook is an example that everyone points to. And then interest and struggle, which they are today. There's none, perhaps. So if there's one Facebook and there's 10,000 other startups thinking about our happy almost every day, the ones that differentiate, the ones that can see a clear path, I think, from day one. It doesn't take much to focus on. What are your metrics? What says that you can scale? That's very important. And just like Bob said, we just had an individual, a very close friend, brought us the opportunity that we had turned down. He came back and said, I think I can do this. Let's take over the company. Let's put more money in than we ever think we're going to need. Almost 3 times that more money we're ever going to need later. He's now left, got a little too tough on the sledding, and there we are. We have to step in and so on. Had we had the metrics along the way, which we realized a year later, had we been able to get that, we would have seen the problems that we have. And this is still a very early stage company doing great stuff, but now just breaking into a $2 million of revenue. So it takes a lot of time. Do that blocking and tackling early on. Know that you can't take no salary forever. It's just not feasible, and it actually starts to say something about the company over time. Because it says, can this really be a scale of real, true trial?
Good points. Good points. So our company had done a